very happy to have with us someone representing the institution that proposed it and that is fleshing it out right now and that is bringing it to life. So we have with us Stefan De Keersmaecker from the European Commission. He has been working in the Commission for over 20 years across different departments and different work areas. And currently he's working as a coordinating spokesperson for the European Green Deal, as well as a spokesperson for topics such as health, food safety, and regional policy. So I will give the floor to you right now, Stefan. In the meantime, I invite you to think also of any questions you might have to Stefan, post them in the chat or be ready to ask them after the presentation. So Stefan, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much also for this invitation and to have this very interesting discussion. By the way, I very much liked what Adam said. Listen, I'm going to start with youth. I'm going to talk a bit about the Green Deal and I will end with youth again. Unfortunately, I'll have to be a little bit more modest than Adam because I'm twice as old as Adam. So I can hardly call myself young with my 52 years of age. So a certain modesty is at its place here. Why would I like, nevertheless, to start with youth and the role of youth? When President von der Leyen became president of the European Commission, she prepared her program. And the first fundamental, crucial, extremely important priority that she identified was the European Green Deal. And this is an extremely ambitious priority. And why is it ambitious? And I'll explain to you in a few moments what this means is ambition. But why is it ambitious? Well, for a very simple reason, that the voice of the young people was very loud. The voice was in the streets, but was also in meetings with policymakers, with commission people. The voice of youth has helped and was actually a crucial factor to help making this European Green Deal an ambitious Green Deal. In addition, there was the voice of the scientists, of course. In addition, there was also what we saw all around us. We see around us that biodiversity is declining. We see climate change every day again. But again, the voice of youth has been very important. And if we can go to the next slide, it's because of this voice that the Commission President von der Leyen launched the European Green Deal, which has a very ambitious but simple objective, which is to transform our EU into a very modern, resource-efficient, competitive, healthy, environment, nature-friendly economy. It means we reduce net emissions of greenhouse gases. We don't want any emissions anymore by 2050. We want to be the first climate neutral continent by 2050. We want to achieve this by economic growth, but which is decoupled from resource use. And thirdly, also extremely important, I'll come back to that maybe, the Green Deal is not just a matter of doing nice things, selling nice things. The Green Deal is a deal that has to be a deal for everyone. Everybody has to be on board. We cannot leave people, we cannot leave regions behind. And so this social component of the Green Deal is part of the DNA of the Green Deal. And it's these three main objectives that we try to achieve through our Green Deal. If we can go to the next slide, you will see that, of course, a lot has been done, but you see when you look at these figures, we have already made some progress. Between 1990 and 2018, for instance, you see that our continent had a reduction of greenhouse gas emissions by 23%, while the economy grew by 61%. Are we there? No, we're not there. But it shows that there is a way forward. And that, again, is something that we try to achieve with our Green Deal. In the next slide, I would like to show one of the very first important steps that we took with the Green Deal, which was a revision of the European climate law. In our climate law, which has been adopted by all the member states, and so it has a force of law in all member states, which is new in the history of the European Union. In this climate law, we set an emissions reduction target of 55% by 2030. And as I said before, by 2050, we want climate neutrality. This is not easy, this is ambitious, but again, it was possible to go ahead with this important step forward, again, among other things, because of the youth movement and the voice of the young people. It's not just a matter, in the next slide, it's not just a matter of, again, setting targets. That's also very important. One of the very important elements you also have to do is to make sure that we set aside the necessary funds to achieve this. We have to put our money where our mouth is. Now, I don't know to what extent you are familiar with the European budget rules. They're very complicated. But suffice to say that for the next for the period 2021 to 2027, 1.8 trillion euros, so that's 1,800 billion euros, has been set aside for this for the budget. 1/3 of these amounts are expected to be used to help member states with the green transition, helping them making the necessary investments, helping them in supporting people, regions that are affected by this green transition. So again, it's not just a matter of setting targets, it's also a matter of making sure that the necessary funding is made available. By the way, in terms of climate change and tackling climate change, the European Union is the highest investor from public funds also in the rest of the world. Now, on the next slide, you will see, I think, how ambitious the Green Deal is. Again, it's not easy. It's going to be a hell of a difficult road, but it's an important road. This slide shows you all the areas where the Green Deal wants to make a change. And it shows that it's really about a transformative agenda. We want to set targets in our climate law. We want to invest in more sustainable and smarter mobility. And not so long ago, for instance, the Parliament and the Council adopted our proposal to stop fossil fuel using cars in 2035. So that's a very important step. But other initiatives are ongoing, of course. It's also about the Green Deal, about turning our industry greener, for instance, by introducing a circular economy. We've already adopted several packages there. It's about eliminating pollution. It's about ensuring, as I said before, a just transition for all, making sure that enough funds are also made available to help people, for instance, renovating their houses so that they become more climate friendly. Green Deal is also about the making financing of green projects easier, hence the famous taxonomy, which identifies investments that are green and where we invite the financial world to more easily make funds available for these kinds of projects. We want to make our homes more energy efficient. We want to be leading indeed on the global front. We want our food supply system to be healthy and sustainable and nature friendly by looking at the whole cycle of our food supplies, from the farmers to the fork that you use to eat your food on your plate. So the whole cycle is being rethought thanks to our farm to fork strategy, for instance. We want to better protect nature, wetlands. We want to promote clean energy. And of course, the aggression of Russia in Ukraine has there also accelerated several things. But I think what you see here is that I still discover every day areas where the Green Deal is active or tries to achieve certain things. I think I can say that all the services in the Commission, all of them, all the directorates general, are linked one way or another to this Green Deal priority, whether it's the financing services or whether it's the policy services, the energy, climate, the fisheries, agriculture, all are one way or another in a very high or less high way linked to achieving the goals of the Green Deal. On the next slide, you will see that this Green Deal, yes, is translated into several political steps, policy initiatives. All I said before, these areas have led to the adoption of policy proposals, which are now being negotiated with the Parliament and with the Council. But it leads to very concrete things that all of us will feel very, very quickly. We hopefully, of course. It's about reducing air pollution. Our air will be cleaner. We are trying to make sure that when you drive an electric car, that there are sufficient charging points across the European Union. We are going to ensure that 3 billion more trees are planted so that we live in a healthier environment. We want to improve the living conditions, health conditions, and so on. So all of these important policy initiatives that the Green Deal is calling for are meant to lead to very concrete day-to-day improvements of our day-to-day lives. Something that Adam also referred to. It's very important that we see how all these policy proposals, which are very ambitious and very important, are actually translated into concrete improvements of our life, of environment, society. Finally, we should never forget that the Green Deal is not just about us in the European Union. We're part of a global system. And there, the next slide, if you could, we are trying to first lead by example. It's by showing the world what could be possible approaches that you also make a stronger case to help other parts of the world, or to convince other parts of the world to become greener in more areas. We try to play an important role in international climate diplomacy. The last COP, as you know, we would have expected more, but it does not stop the European Union and the Commission from continuing to remain united as much as possible, to form a very united front, and to continue leading by example and trying to take things forward anyway. We will go ahead with our Green Deal anyway. And so, again, if I can come back to what I said in the beginning, I have now summarized the Green Deal just in a few minutes, which is, of course, not very respectful to the Green Deal. But I hope that one thing is clear. This is a very important strategy. I quite honestly believe that this Green Deal will be one of the main elements of the legacy of the current Commission, of the von der Leyen Commission. But I hope that it is clear that it's extremely broad, that it encompasses a whole area of economic activities, of social activities, that it really covers our whole society. And that is ambition, is the result of the voice of young people. Now, we must continue listening to the voice of young people, and we must continue to help young people, giving their voice as much as possible. Maybe I could draw your attention to the fact that 2022, which is not yet over, is the European Year of Youth. And we have launched loads of initiatives to give a voice to young people, helping them to put things on the agenda. If you check out our web pages on the European Year of Youth, you will see a whole lot of initiatives there. We also had, not so long ago, the Conference on the Future of Europe, where lots of young people also participated, and where the green concerns were an extremely important part of the discussions on the future of the European Union. So if I may end how I started, it's thanks to the voice of young people that I think I can say we have a very ambitious Green Deal, but we need to continue having the strong voice of youth and of scientists, of course. Youth are very often translating the scientific language in a very direct way. We need these voices to help us pushing the European Union towards this highly needed green transition. Thanks.